This is Paw Print, an animal rescue community, Episode 1. I'm Harold.
And I'm Nancy.
Today's guest is the very dynamic Christine Kavanaugh, Director of Sales at Aloft Hotel in downtown Asheville, North Carolina.
We had a vacation planned to Asheville, and I was just doing research on places to stay. I came across a headline saying a hotel that fosters dogs. And me being involved in animal rescue and being a dog lover, found out about this wonderful hotel that actually fosters dogs in their lobby in cooperation with a local animal rescue called Charlie's Angels. And I thought, wow, what a terrific idea.
If you want to learn more about Christine Kavanaugh and the Aloft Hotel in downtown Asheville, you can go to our show notes at thisispawprint.com/1. That's the number 1.
I'm a native of Asheville, North Carolina, and I'm very, very proud to be the Director of Sales and Marketing for Aloft Hotel in downtown Asheville, and super excited about the foster dog program that we started about a year ago. Our hotel's been open for just over 3 years. We've had the foster dog program. It's been going strong now for about a year and a month now, coming up on a year and 2 months, and we're getting ready to send home our 43rd dog this morning.
Amazing. 43 dogs. When you first started the program, what were you envisioning? And a little over a year later, how has that met or been different from your expectations?
Well, the program initially started out as one of our community service projects. Our hotel is owned and managed by McKibben Hotel Management, and we believe very strongly in giving back to the community. So as part of that, we have a quarterly community service project that we engage in. As part of that, since we're a pet-friendly property, guests are welcome to bring their dogs. There's no size or weight restriction, and we don't charge a pet deposit. We thought, well, wouldn't it be great if we did something with animals? So my general manager and our assistant general manager and I sat down and kind of mapped out for the year what we wanted to do. And we had heard about another guy locally that is a foster dog parent, and he takes his dog to work with him every day to kind of increase his exposure. And we thought, well, what if we became a foster family for a dog? So we were fortunate enough to get connected with Charlie's Angels Animal Rescue, and they agreed to let us become a foster family. And at first we thought it was only going to be a 3-month project, and we were like, if we get 2 or 3 dogs into a home, wouldn't that be great? Well, our first dog went home inside of a week.
Right.
And then we got our second dog, and by the end of the 3 months, we were coming up on like our 12th dog. And at that point, we just decided to make it a permanent part of our hotel's program, that we would just always have dogs here. So we're getting ready to receive our 44th dog, and it's exceeded our expectations by, there's not enough adjectives to describe it. It just was more successful beyond our wildest dreams or hopes. So we're super, super proud of it. Plus, it's been fun and rewarding.
Oh, I'm sure. So tell us a little bit about, do you take one animal in at a time and wait for them to get adopted, or how does that work?
Yeah, our model is one dog at a time, and we typically stay with dogs that are like 30 pounds and under, just because of the space limitations we have at the hotel. So Charlie's Angels will pre-screen the dogs for us for temperament and how social they are, because obviously being in a hotel environment, they are exposed to a lot of people, get a lot of handling. So a dog that's not, super shy is going to be a better fit for us as well. So they bring the dogs to us. We keep the dog in our sales office, in our back office for first day to kind of get it acclimated to the hotel and to our team. And then after that, we take it out, and it stays in the lobby right behind our front desk. We have like a nice little playpen area set up with with a big fluffy dog bed and toys and bowls. Guests are able to come up and greet the dog and take it out of its playpen on a leash, hold it, play with it, and kind of get to know the dog in a different type of an environment, rather than going into a shelter where it might be loud and noisy and the dogs aren't going to behave as naturally as they would if they're in a more comfortable home-like setting. The dogs are truly, we treat them like our family dog. They're here 24 hours a day. They come back and sleep in the back office at night. We have a crate and bedding back here. The entire team, from housekeeping to our breakfast attendants to the members of our executive team, are all very involved in the care of the dog. We have a chart that, we mark down when it's been out, what it did when it went out, when it was fed, how much it was given, and who fed the dog, so that we kind of know what's going on with the dog on a daily basis. Because we have people here 24 hours a day, so it makes it really easy for those of us that come in at 7:30 or 8 in the morning. We know exactly what happened with the dog in the night, and then we can convey that information when the evening team comes in. It's a lot of fun. The staff loves it. In fact, 4 of the dogs have been adopted by staff members here at the hotel.
Oh, that's right. What we call a foster fail or a foster
Yep.
failure, right?
Yeah, we've had a few of those.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. What's the quickest that one of your fosters has been adopted, or what's the average length of time that the foster stays with you before he or she gets adopted?
I would say the fastest was our dog, Max. He literally was here less than an hour before the lady that ended up adopting him laid eyes on him, and she literally was like, "This is my dog," and she put in the application that day, and he went home just, like 2 days later.
Unbelievable.
So we've had some dogs get adopted inside of an hour. I would say, using hotel terminology, the average length of stay for a dog is about 10 days. We've had some that have been here 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Ruby Rose, our current dog that's going home today, she was with us for 24 hours before she met her forever family.
Okay.
And she's going home today.
Wow. So Ruby Rose is your 43rd dog getting adopted.
Yes.
and going to take in. After Ruby Rose gets adopted, is there sort of a normal window before you take in another foster?
Yeah, a lot of times what happens when Charlie's Angels comes to pick up the dog, because they handle the entire adoption process, they do the screening, home visits and everything. So when they come to pick up the dog to transfer it to its new owner, a lot of times they'll just bring the next dog with them.
Sure.
Sometimes we've adopted dogs out so quickly they don't have any adoptable dogs for us, and we may have to wait a few days. And then we're all sad because the office doesn't feel right without having a dog now.
Yeah.
We get very excited and very anxious when we are between dogs because we're ready to get the next one in.
At Aloft Hotel in Asheville, what percentage of guests would you say actually bring a pet with them?
During the week, it's a lower percentage because we get more business travelers. But on the weekends, I would say we could have upwards of 15 or 20 dogs at a time in the hotel, which is about 10 to 15% of our guests on a weekend.
Yeah. So on the weekends, it gets pretty busy, I would imagine.
It gets very busy, but again, we're super pet friendly. Guests can bring their dogs into our main lobby area. We have a beautiful outdoor bar area so people can bring their dogs and enjoy a beer with their pets sitting outdoors in the lounge area. We also have a dog run on our 3rd floor outdoors near our swimming pool. So we've tried to accommodate the 4-legged guests as much as we can the 2-legged guests. So we try to provide amenities for the dogs as well as the humans here.
Yeah. Asheville, North Carolina is one of the most beautiful parts of the country. Do you want to maybe give a little commercial on Asheville, North Carolina?
Absolutely, because like I said, I'm a native of Asheville. We are very proud of the fact that we've been called Beer City, USA for 4 years running. We are located right in the heart of the Blue Ridge Mountains. In fact, the Blue Ridge Parkway kind of runs through the middle of the county here. So we have a little bit of something for everybody. We have outdoors activities with hiking, biking, whitewater rafting, zip lining, thriving arts and music scene here. We have 21 going on 22 microbreweries, and we have some of the best restaurants in the Southeast. We have 3 James Beard Award nominated chefs that are located in our little city of 80,000 people. And Asheville is also home to Biltmore, which is the largest privately owned home in the United States. It's a French chateau-style home. It's 250 rooms on about 8,000 acres, located about 2 miles from downtown Asheville. So that's a big draw for the area as well.
Right,
but,
a huge draw.
Asheville's always been kind of a tourist community, but in the last 10 or 15 years, people are really kind of starting to discover what we have to offer, and this is why people like me have just never left, and if we did leave, we came back as quickly as we could because it's just an awesome place to be.
Visiting your hotel when we were at Asheville was one of the highlights of my trip there. I met a very adorable Jack Russell. It was just a delightful experience.
Thank think. So I think that may have been George. If you were here in June or July,
Yeah.
it would have been George. He was the last Jack Russell that we had here with us, and he was adorable. We all loved him.
Yeah, and I follow your hotel on Facebook, and I know just recently there was a black, it was a smaller dog, like a fluffy black dog, and
Yeah, Bandit.
yeah, that's it, Bandit. Yeah, that's it. Okay, and like
He went home on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh, so he just came. So he just found his home on Tuesday.
He went home on Tuesday, and that's when we got Ruby Rose, who is our current dog, and then she got adopted yesterday and will be leaving today. So
Wow, fast,
know.
quick turnaround on Ruby Rose. Okay.
Yeah, I saw the post on Bandit one day, and then the next day he was gone. He was already adopted.
yeah, it was. That's how it happens sometimes. I mean, it's just
Wow.
it can be so fast, which is great because, we really feel like if every hotel that can take a pet could do the same program, I mean, we could, potentially save thousands and thousands of doggy lives.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Every year.
Yeah, you're so right.
Could you just rewind a little bit? You mentioned that Aloft is into every 3 months doing a community program. But what was the true sort of genesis? Who actually got connected with Charlie's Angels? What got this all started?
At the beginning of each year, our executive team, which is typically me, our general manager, our operations manager, and our director of food and beverage, sit down. We kind of put together a plan of quarterly community engagement projects. So we map out which partners we're going to work with and during what quarter of the year. Last year, the three of us at that time, my GM and our director of food and beverage, were discussing. We decided we wanted to do foster dogs for the third quarter, so July, August, September. We kind of reached out. We were trying to decide who we wanted to work with, and honestly, we wanted to try and work with maybe one of the smaller, lesser-known rescue groups to try and help raise their profile as part of this, because there's a lot of animal rescue organizations. It's huge here in Asheville. Lots and lots of animal lovers, as I'm sure you guys probably experienced when you were here. There's dogs everywhere. Most of the bars and restaurants allow dogs on their patios. We just happened to get connected with Charlie's Angels because our director of food and beverage, Emma Ledbetter, was on a flight on her way to Tampa, Florida, which is where our company is headquartered, and happened to sit next to somebody who's a board member for Charlie's Angels. And she kind of described to him what we were looking to do. And he immediately jumped at the opportunity and got us connected with their executive director. The program just kind of went from there. And we got our first dog the last week of July, 2014. And like I said, the first dog went home by the first week of August. So it just kind of went from there. But we had to iron out a lot of logistics with the rescue group as far as general liability, feeding care, who was responsible. We've got certain restrictions in place, like guests are not allowed to take the dogs to their rooms at night or stay with them overnight. The dogs, we agreed that the dogs would always stay under the control of a staff member at the hotel for the animal safety as well as for the safety of our guests. So once we worked out the logistics and we took delivery of our first dog, we just the program just kind of went from there. And it's actually been a very, very smooth process for us and as well as for Charlie's Angels. I think Charlie's Angels has appreciated the partnership because they're a small group. They don't have a lot of space in their current facility to house dogs long term, and they have a great network of foster parents. But every dog that we're able to take here opens up a space in their shelter, so they can take another dog out of a kill shelter locally.
Exactly. When you foster a dog, you're not just saving that one dog that you're fostering, you're actually saving two dogs because it creates space to go and save another dog from a high kill shelter.
Exactly. And what Charlie's Angels is doing is remarkable because not only do they pull from high kill shelters in the region, they have a team of people that get on Craigslist every day and scour the ads looking for people that are giving away their dogs online, and that they will go and take those, ask those people to sign their dogs over to them in order to prevent them from, being given to somebody that might be using them for bait, for dog fighting and stuff.
Right.
So they have a great, very, very highly dedicated group of people, and it's an all-volunteer organization, too. So we just love them.
Could you maybe tell us a little bit about when you compare notes, let's say, with other properties in the Aloft family. What kinds of questions do you get from your colleagues who might be surprised that you actually run this basically like a full-fledged foster program at your facility?
A lot of the questions revolve around how did we implement it operationally from the hotel side? How does the adoption process work? Because a lot of times people think that we're actually adopting the dogs ourselves, and so we clarify, no, that's all handled by the rescue group. They ask about guests. What's the guest reaction to it? Because obviously we're a hotel first and foremost, and we want to make sure our guests have an awesome experience with this when we're here. And I can honestly say that it's been overwhelmingly positively received by our guests. About 60% of our dogs have been adopted by guests that were staying at the hotel, didn't come here looking for a dog, but then they fell in love and then ended up putting in the application and taking the dog with them. So a lot from hotel side, it's a lot of operational and just guest satisfaction questions, because several other Aloft around the country are implementing a similar program in their own hotels, which we're thrilled with. Other hotels that are not part of the Starwood family of brands are also starting to pick up on the program and mimic the program, which is great. Again, we would love to see every hotel do something like this. And my company, McKibben, is opening another Aloft Hotel in December in Greenville, South Carolina, and we're going to open with a foster dog program in place down there as well.
What is it about a hotel that would make it conducive?
It's a much more relaxed environment than a shelter, which can be really stressful for the dogs.
Right.
They're behind a fence, a lot of other dogs barking, and it's just not a natural environment for them. When the dogs are here at the hotel, it's kind of more, you saw our lobby area, it's kind of like a living room kind of setup. So people can take the dogs out, cuddle with the dogs, play with the dogs, walk it around and on the second floor here, and the dogs are a little bit more relaxed, and they get to interact with the potential adopter in a much more natural environment. So their real personalities come through, rather than maybe they're shy and cowering in the corner at the shelter. So I think it gives the owners and the pets more of an opportunity to bond and kind of see if their personalities are going to be a fit for each other.
Right.
Because it's quieter. They get to cuddle. They get to people come in and they just sit and hold the dogs, or they walk around with them, holding them like little babies and stuff. So it's kind of an environment like they would get to have in a home, where they're going to get a lot of attention.
I understand a surprisingly high number of out-of-town guests, like out-of-state guests, have also adopted the dogs.
Yes.
How does that work?
Yeah, we've adopted as far away as Massachusetts at this point. And Charlie's Angels, when they get the application, if they're not physically able to if the guests are located out of this area, they will work with a reciprocal rescue group in whatever area the potential adoptive families are located, and have them go and do the home visit and report back to them. And then at that point, the owners will work out, they'll either come back to the Asheville area and pick up the dog and take the dog home. Charlie's Angels transports dogs to the Northeast almost weekly, just because, as I'm sure you're aware, the spay-neuter laws are a lot tougher in the Northeast area than they are in the South. So there's actually a shortage of adoptable dogs in some of those areas. So they transport dogs from here up to like Jersey and stuff. I think on a couple of occasions they've transported the dogs as far as north up there, and then folks can come and meet them kind of halfway to pick up their dogs.
Wow. And maybe is Asheville we got a sense that it was a very dog-friendly or pet-friendly town? Can you talk a little bit about the town of Asheville and how was it always pet friendly, or was there a concerted effort by the community to make it more pet friendly? Well,
Asheville has always had kind of a bohemian vibe, and so rescue has been a big emphasis in this area. Most people around here get their dogs from rescue groups rather than breeders. And I just think with us being a very active area, lots of outdoor activities, hiking and stuff, people just tend to take their dogs with them everywhere. So that's why you see so many restaurants downtown that have patios that allow people to bring their dog onto the patios and hang out. So it's just part of our culture here in this area. I am hard-pressed to think of one person that doesn't like dogs or is bothered by somebody having their dog with them, because, people that take their dogs everywhere with them like that, the dogs are usually very, very well socialized and very well behaved. So it's just part of the culture in the area here.
And when you say that most of the residents, dog owners in Asheville rescue, that is so true. No matter what part of town you're in, whether the wealthiest or downtown, wherever, I definitely noticed most of the dogs that I did notice were rescues. So that was just wonderful to see.
Christine, maybe rewind a little bit. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Any kind of experience that you've had with animals prior to Aloft, and how'd you get into the hotel business?
Well, my experience with animals is just basically just to being a lifelong pet owner. I've either had a dog or a cat my entire life. I've actually got 3 cats at home right now, all rescue, and one is a foster failure. So, I
we have one of those too.
Very strongly believe in trying to, take animals myself from the shelter. And I just kind of got into hospitality. I've been involved in the meetings and hospitality industry for a little over 20 years. My first job out of college was as a travel agent doing, planning group tours. And then I was a corporate meeting and event planner for a .com company based out of Charlotte, North Carolina for years. And then I was a meeting and event planner independently. And then I've been in the hotel side for about 8 or 9 years now. And I just love it. Hospitality's in my blood. I love working with the people I get to work with the guests that I get to meet. And it's something about hospitality. Once you start in it, you just kind of don't ever want to leave it.
You mentioned that the program overall has gone pretty smoothly. Any kind of mistakes that you can maybe share with folks, or any kind of keys to your success?
I would just say make sure that the rescue group carefully pre-screens the dogs before they bring them to the hotel. Again, temperament is very important to putting the dogs in a high traffic, high intensity environment, because we get anything from small children in the hotel at times to other dogs being in the lobby. So that's why the pre-screening on the part of the rescue group is important. And then also screening the dog once it gets on property, because the dog is going to behave very differently in a shelter environment than it will once it gets into a more home-like environment, which is what we like to feel like we have here at the hotel. So that's why we always keep the dog in the back office and observe it to make sure that it's good with other dogs, it's not aggressive, that it doesn't seem to mind being petted by a bunch of different strangers, that it's good with children. We've had a couple of dogs that we got them here that we never put them out on the floor for adoption because we could just tell that they were going to be too shy, or they were too timid, or maybe they were going to be too aggressive with other dogs once we, kind of took them out on a leash, just taking them out for walks. Our guest safety and the safety of the dogs is always first and foremost for us, and the comfort of the dog is also first and foremost for us. So, that observation period. If you're working at a hotel, I would say, get the full engagement of the entire team, because it's a lot of fun, and it's also a great de-stressor in the workplace, because when you have a dog that you can go and play with or get a kiss from if you're having a bad day, how can you have a bad day at the office? There's always a puppy to play with. So
true, so true. What does the rest of this year, what does maybe 2016 look like for you and Aloft Asheville?
The foster dog program is not going anywhere. It is a permanent fixture for us here at the hotel. We are coming up on our 50th dog adoption, hopefully by the end of October, and we're going to try and put together a special celebration revolving around our 50th dog. We have a live music series that's the last Sunday of every month, and it's a charitable component to it where the cover charge goes to a local charity that we're working with. So the next one that we're hosting on October 25th is going to be a fundraiser for Charlie's Angels Animal Rescue. And we're going to do it's the second year we've done this. We're going to do a dog Halloween costume contest. So we'll have live music. We'll have costume contests for the pets and their people. We'll be giving away prizes, and hopefully we'll have our 50th dog adopted by then, so we can have a little bit of an extra celebratory component.
That's amazing.
That.
Does anybody on staff do any kind of scrapbooking or documentation of the prior 43 fosters that you've had?
Yes, on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Aloft Asheville. I have created photo albums for every single dog that we've had with us since last summer. We find that we have a pretty good social media following, and a lot of people are sharing the images of the dogs, and we get a lot of interest in the dogs that way. So, and we have people from all over the world that have learned about what we're doing, so they follow us on Facebook to kind of keep up with the dogs. So
Wow.
I have not put Ruby Rose out there because she was here for such a short period of time, but I'm at least going to snap a photo of her today before she goes home.
That's right.
And get her posted up there because, she's another success story for us, and we want to get her story out too.
Yeah, gotta grab a photo.
Exactly.
How do folks find you? I mean, you were kind enough to mention your Facebook page. I mean, you can mention it again.
Facebook is the best way to locate us if you're interested in the fostering program. We have our own website, which is aloftashevilledowntown.com. So if anybody's interested in coming and visiting the hotel and meeting the dogs while they're here, that would be the best way to locate us, is just on the internet. All of our rates and everything are there. We don't have anything about the foster dog program specifically on the website, but Facebook is the best way to find us to learn about the fostering program.
Super.
And also Charlie's Angels Animal Rescue has information as well.
Gotcha.
And their website is charliesangelsanimalrescue.com.
Super. Thank you so much for sharing that. Ultimately, you're the director of sales. You are Aloft Asheville Downtown is a business. What impact have you seen the foster program have on you as a business?
We actually have a large number of guests that we meet out in the lobby that say that they're staying with us because they heard about the fostering program. We were fortunate enough to be featured in People magazine back in January, and we were also on NBC Nightly News and the Meredith Vieira show. So people have seen about us on television or read about us in the newspapers, and we're actually finding that people are coming here to visit us because they've heard about the program, they know we're pet friendly, they travel with their dogs, and they want to come and meet or whoever our current foster is that week. So it's had a very positive impact on our business, and we hear about it a lot in our guest surveys and on TripAdvisor, where people are really excited to see what we're doing.
Any other ways Aloft Asheville Downtown has been different?
Well, our staff is very engaged in the program. I can honestly say that I think that the staff love the program. Like I said, we've had 4 dogs adopted by staff members
Yeah.
in the past year. So we're all pet lovers here. Everybody really gets excited when we get a new dog, and there's always like a little squeals of glee when we get a dog adopted, especially when it goes as quickly as Ruby Rose is today, because people are just like, I can't believe it. 24 hours, the dog is gone. Who are we getting next? There's always that level of anticipation of who's coming next.
Yeah.
So and the team loves it. Our guests love it. The community. We have folks that come in that just live in the local area that like to stop by and meet the dogs too. So it's been a win-win all the way around for everybody.
Super. Well, as we wrap up, any other kind of lessons that you'd like to share from the past little over a year doing the program?
I would encourage anybody, whether you're in hospitality or not, to kind of think, if you're an animal lover, to kind of think of ways that perhaps you can incorporate a foster program into your own work environment, because it really brings a great deal of joy to the dogs and the new owners, as well as the foster families, to kind of help save these lives. There's been a lot of tears shed because you literally see people meet these dogs, fall in love, and you know that you're changing lives, not just for the dogs, but for the people too that are taking these dogs in. It's really rewarding work. I don't know how we didn't do it sooner.
Right.
Because we can't imagine not doing it now. So I would encourage people to really think if they could possibly do something like this in their own work environment, if you're in retail or something, because if you get a lot of people coming in and out of your facility, it's a perfect opportunity to kind of help partner with the local rescue and save some of these dogs' lives.
Shedding some tears, hopefully sharing a few laughs as well, right?
Yeah, the dogs are cute. It's a good distraction sometimes.
Well, listen, Christine, we just want to say thank you for being such a huge advocate, not only for your business, but Asheville, North Carolina. I mean, honestly, we did not specifically fly out to Asheville, North Carolina to see your hotel. But once we realized we were going to Asheville, Nancy basically was this is the only reason why I'm coming here right now is to visit you guys. So hopefully it just continues to be a tremendous success.
Well, thank you. And we hope you'll come back soon and meet our 75th dog at some point.
Woohoo!
Or our 100th dog, because I know that we're going to get there. So.
Gotcha. Any plans for any reunions?
Well, that's part of what we're thinking about doing for our 50th dog celebration is inviting the owners who have adopted through us to come back. And we'd love to kind of incorporate them into our next event for Charlie's Angels in October. We're kind of putting the plans together about that right now, but we would love to try and get all of the owners together for like a little mini family reunion.
Okay.
If possible. A lot of logistics to work through with that, but that's kind of in the preliminary planning stage right now.
Thanks to Christine Kavanaugh for sharing her story. It is amazing the work that Aloft Hotel in downtown Asheville is doing for so many dogs and, of course, so many people. If you want to learn more about today's episode, go to our show notes at thisispawprint.com/1. You can also find Nancy and myself on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Look for This Is Paw Print, and we promise that we don't charge extra for early check-in or late check-out. If you enjoyed today's episode, take a look at our iTunes page and leave us a review. It's at thisispawprint.com/iTunes. If you mention your Twitter handle, we promise to return the favor with a shout-out. Well, thanks again, everybody, for listening. You truly make our day by sharing your love of animal rescue with the people around you. And we'll see you next time on Paw Print.
Paw Print is a production of EVER Education.
You can't handle the truth!
Woohoo!